Hi, everyone. Welcome to the October cohort 2023 of Career Lab. This session is an add-on optional, and I'm really thrilled that you're here because this was my favorite part of all of Collab Lab, I think. I am TCL 36, so that was January 22, I want to say, is when I went through this program. And at some point, Stacy made a call for just volunteers to help with little things. And I'm like, I'm really good at Zoom, which is super ironic. But I'm not going to put it in the recording of why. But those of you that are here know why that's ironic. So I took that over just for Career Lab to help out. And I started doing more and more and more till I've basically taken over the whole thing because it was life changing, career changing. And I hope very much that it is for you as well. I don't think Career Lab has been around the whole time. So, you know, the Collab Lab program, but there was also a need besides learning how to program on a team and agile methodologies and going through those processes that you don't get in boot camp. But then the next step, what are you going to do as soon as you've gained all these amazing skills? And that is find and land the perfect job. So that's what this 2 weeks is about. It's about getting that interview and then doing well in the interview. That's the whole point. So you're going to see we're getting joined by some mentors and volunteers. This whole thing is volunteer run, just like the rest of Collab Lab. And we've paired you up with people who will look over your LinkedIn and give you some feedback. We'll actually schedule a mock interview with you, both a behavioral and a technical, so that you can have that experience in a safe, non-threatening, and learning environment, but that still feels authentic because it's somebody you don't know. And they have prepped and they know what your take-home assignment is and things like that. And you'll get to go through those processes and then get the feedback afterwards. That's the best part, is being able to ask questions and have them give you the feedback of pump this up, or maybe say it this way, or find a new example for X, things like that. So it's just a really, really great experience that takes away that pressure. That's the those of you that are from different careers and professions, and I bet all of you have had not technical interviews before. It's a different animal. It requires, you know, so many different mindsets, and it can be really intimidating. So that's what this 2 weeks is about, is to lift the veil and show you what's going on behind and get you some practice, so that you go into those confident. It changed everything. The first technical I did after Career Lab was a piece of cake. I can't promise they're all piece of cakes. I've had some bad ones since then too, but you'll be a lot better prepared and feel a lot more confident. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen with the repo. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it. If you haven't, no problem. It's there for you. I can't see the chat right now while we're doing this, but feel free if you have any questions to put them in there. And Zenzi, if you want to jump in and answer questions on the chat, that'd be great. Or if any of the collabs know, go for it. Otherwise, I'll just go through them all at the end because I want your questions. So you can see the GitHub now, right? You can see our repo, I think. And so this is for Career Lab, October 2023. No one's told me there's any typos yet, so that'll be a good win for me this time. This is basically our calendar. This is set up so that you can see what the first week's going to look like and what the second week's going to look like. It also contains all the resources. So a little bit of an introduction to whatever the topic is. If you have a partner, it'll have a partner list and things like that. So we're here today. It's Saturday, October 7th. It's our kickoff. There's no extra resources for today because this is it. We're talking and doing a quick orientation. But here we're just saying it's happening. This is where you're going to go for all of your info, anything you need. Anything not here, reach out. I'm on Slack a lot. So you can just send me a message anytime and we'll fix it. But this is where all of your resources are for the whole session. So I'm going to go back to the calendar. It's in date order. So it's in chronological order. So sometimes there's a spread of days. So like the next thing on our list is Sunday, October 8th to Wednesday, the 11th. So that just means work on it during that time frame. You want to get it all done on Sunday? Cool. If you want to get it all done today, cool, no problem. If you're busy and you can't do it until Wednesday, That's totally fine. If you can't do it at all, that's totally fine too. This is supposed to be an aid and a support and a resource for you. This is not supposed to be one more overwhelming assignment or task when you're busy. So pick and choose if you have to. If you can't finish, that's okay. Let us know. You can come back to another one. You might see a couple of names throughout the next 2 weeks or faces on Zoom that you don't recognize from your current cohort because people are coming from previous cohorts because they want to repeat it or they weren't able to finish. They just want to warm up on their interview skills. We're here for you forever. That's definitely part of the philosophy. So the other column, type, sync, like right now, means live on Zoom. You might notice there's also this weird sync star one. That means it's going to be live on Zoom, but it won't be with me. It won't be the whole group on Zoom at a scheduled time that's already in the repo. You're going to reach out to your partner, and we'll go over where you find your partner, send them a Slack message and go, hey, what's your availability like these 3 days? Or I can only do mornings. Do you have a morning in the next week? You know, something along those lines, so that you do meet synchronously, but you do it on your time. So I don't have that schedule. And then async, which is what the majority of this stuff is you can do on your own. You can watch it all and do a marathon if you want. It's readings, it's videos, there's some exercises. Like once you find out what you want to do with your LinkedIn, you go ahead and implement it. That's all the async stuff. So your first task is LinkedIn. That's what week 1 is. It's all about LinkedIn and getting that interview. So we'll go over the first one, and then I'll give you a model of all the rest. It says to, it says why you're doing this. So a little blurb. It says to spend an hour by Monday or Tuesday watching the videos, because we have some fantastic videos from an earlier session that we've kept and we reuse because they're perfect. So you'll watch part 1 and then kind of think about your own stuff, and maybe even physically do it to your own LinkedIn profile right away. Watch part 2. This is where you're adding your experience, education, any volunteer experience you want to add, the things that beef up who you are, and what you bring to the table beyond just, I know JavaScript, right? And then again, recommendations. This is an opportunity actually for you to give each other recommendations. You just worked on a team for 8 weeks. You know each other's strengths. You know each other's interests. It's perfectly valid to say that you are a team member, a teammate, or a colleague, and give each other recommendations. And even just the little, clicking off on skill sets. When you put what you have a skill on, you all have used Firebase now, and React, and whatever CSS framework you chose. So you can give each other check marks to verify those skills as well. So that's for your LinkedIn. There are a couple of other things about how to tell your story. One of the things that was most unknown, I guess is what I want to say, that I was not really thinking about when I started interviewing in tech, is you're interviewing them too. So you can frame yourself and package yourself in certain ways. You can ask questions. It'll come up at the beginning of next week, what to ask your interviewers. So once you get that interview, what you want to know about a company or a team or the job. And so we're going to take you through all of those steps as well. So you're going to do those async, and then we have some sync sessions. Tomorrow, no, not tomorrow. Today's Saturday. So Monday, we have a Q&A with a recruiter. Doesn't say anything right now, right? Because we haven't done anything yet. It's literally an opportunity for you to ask a living recruiter, what looks good? What do you really want? Does all the advice we get for what our resume should look like, is it real? Whenever you apply on LinkedIn, is it being seen by a real person? Things like that. So you're going to get an inside scoop and the opportunity to ask one-on-one questions with Yosha. So that one's great on Monday. Another one, which is not technically about getting your interview, but it's a good thing to be thinking about early on, is navigating your finances. That's going to be Wednesday evening with Lucas. He is a certified financial planner and tax preparer, and he's amazing. And he's worked with a bunch of us for years now. And he's going to tell you about how things are going to change and give you some advice about, based on what your interests are. Are you thinking about retirement already? Are you thinking about traveling the world in 3 years? What do you need to do with your money to do it safely and responsibly and have fun too? Because your salary might be changing a whole lot in the near future from what it was in the past. So this last part here, and there's still a window of time because there's no hard deadline. When you finish your LinkedIn, you have been partnered with one of our mentors, and here's the list right there, who has offered to take a look at your LinkedIn and go through it with a fine-tooth comb. We have a whole rubric, and you can look at that too. The link is in this section of the repo, and they'll go through everything and give you some feedback. This is great, add more of this, change this word, whatever feedback they have, they'll give you a bunch of feedback. And you have the opportunity. It's not synchronous, but you also have the opportunity to talk back and forth with them on Slack if you have further questions. And some will also say, hey, let's jump on to Zoom, let's do a live meeting and chat. So if they're available for that, you're available for that. So these are your partners. So you're on the left side, and who you've been partnered with is on the right side. And I think I did it correctly, is everyone's name in here will pull up their Slack handle, so that might not be their whole names. They might have initials and stuff like that. So that's your partner. Also, if you have any problems, just send me a message. So that's week one. So that's what you'll be doing for week one is presenting yourself in the best light and getting prepared so that when you get the interview, that's this one, or that's to get you the interview. So week two, this one's a little bit more chunky, but we start off with some async. So you have some time to do some reading, watch some videos. You're not like immediately going live, but what to ask your interviewers. This session is Andrew, actually a recorded session from Andrew, talking about the power of asking the right questions and communicating what you want to communicate to your interviewer with your questions, and how to really get to what you want to know. Lots of times we're in an interview, and if you're not prepared and you just say, no, you told me everything, that was great, it can make you a little forgettable. You want to ask a good punchy question, and you can decide what that question is, whether it's a culture fit or a technical fit, but you can communicate to your interviewer just by what you ask, what's important to you, what you're interested in, how much research you've done. I was looking at your website and I saw this. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Things like that, to really make you memorable and stand out. And then we're going to have, this one's usually a sync session, but we weren't able to do it this time, but I will prepare a bunch of great videos for you. We do mock interviews or demo interviews where we act them out. And in fact, I'll share one where I think I've already put it on there, where I was the interviewee. Yeah, so this one's got me as the interviewee. Andrew interviewed me for the job fit, and then Raj interviewed EJ for a mock technical. So you can just sort of see someone else answering those questions, or what kind of questions they come up with. And there's a whole bunch of older ones too on YouTube. So if you just want to search Watch Our Mentors or Watch Your Mentors, we changed the name. I think it flip-flops every quarter. You can see some other ones and just get some different things. That session was, it just changed everything, especially in the technical for me. It gave me confidence. I basically channeled the person who was the mock interviewee during my cohort. I just channeled her. I just put an invisible suit on, and I'm going to be confident like her, and I'm going to describe things like her, and I'm going to ask questions like her. And it made all the difference in the world. I think I did it 2 times, and I got an offer from the second one. So it's a great session. So check that one out. There's also a take-home assignment. Now, that might sound intimidating, especially since you just finished working or about to finish working on a big assignment. This is supposed to take an hour, maybe an hour and a half. If you're really an overachiever, 2 hours, but cut yourself off at that point. It is not supposed to be a finished, ready to go to production and wow a client website. That's not what you're building. We've given you a backbone, a skeleton of the assignment with a few criteria. We want you to use this particular API to do this particular thing. But you have a lot of room for how you do that and how you implement it. And if you don't get very far, and this is a little trick, it's actually really valuable because it gives you an opportunity when you're going over and you're demoing what you did to volunteer. If I had more time, I would love to do X, Y, and Z. I want to implement this in the next round, things like that, to show how you think, how you project yourself into the future, what, you know, tech risks you're, or you know, new tech you're learning and want to explore, things like that. So it just communicates who you are. So that's part of the reason why we don't want you to spend 6 hours on this making a fully fleshed out app. We want you to spend just an hour or two at the most, to get parts done so that you have something to demonstrate and something to talk about, just like you've been doing in your retros, right? That time where you say, we worked on this, this is what it looks like, here's the code, right? Because that's what happens. We're talking about the technical interview, not necessarily impressing somebody with how pretty something is. It's your interviewer is going to know what's going on, you know, in the code behind the scenes. And so you want to be able to talk about it. So that's what that is. So you're going to work on that. There's some pointers, like think about this while you're doing it. Think about accessibility. You're using React, so make sure that you're thinking about state and hooks, and you know, and you can talk about your project too. That's key. The project, the shopping list that you just finished, is a massive resource of things to talk about in your interview. So these little pointers about accessibility and React questions are also good ones to think about in that frame. Because your partner, who I'll show you right now where that is, technical mock right here. This is the sync star session. That means that you're going to reach out to this partner. So I'm just going to pick someone at random. Aslan, you're paired up with Luis. So sometime later this week, early next week, once you've had a chance to poke around in the, well, actually, you can even do it before you've started working on the take-home assignment. You can get on their calendar right now for the end of next week and just say, hey, you know, I'm your collabie. What's your schedule like? So they will pair up with you and go over this. So they are looking at these questions as well. They're looking at the take-home assignment. We have some general interview questions that aren't specific to the project, because you'll get some of those questions too. And so there's all these things for you to look at and to sort of prep for. Now, remember, 5 hour, maybe 6 hour a week commitment. Don't spend hours cramming, you know, the top 50 React interview questions and perfect answers. Frame it around this project that you're going to work on a little bit, and be thinking about it with the shopping list that you just completed. Because, you know, we don't want you, this is not supposed to be super high pressure, high stress. We want you to be able to feel that success and confidence in an interview. And so it's going to stick to these topics more or less. Okay, let me go back to the week and see if there's anything special I wanted to jump in. We have a sync session next Monday. This is pair interview practice. This is going to be a chance, if you want, it's optional, to pair up with another collabie on Zoom live. So we'll chat a little bit, and then I'll throw you in breakout rooms. And one of you will take the role of interviewer, one of you will take the role of interviewee, and ask each other some questions and give each other feedback. And we'll probably mix it up a couple of times, just to keep it fresh. But it's another collabie. So again, low stress, low risk, and be able to practice saying those things and get some feedback. We have async sessions, what you should be asking interviewers, how to rock the technical interview, because that's the one that's the most new to us. And then the second half of next week, not this coming week, but the following week, is when you'll meet with your paired mentor volunteer to do your own mock. And then 2 weeks from tomorrow, Sunday, is our graduation, which we'll talk about how this 2 weeks went, and how the full 8 weeks went, how the whole Collab Lab experience went for you. It's just a celebration. There's no task or homework for that one. It's also a chance for you to give us feedback because we want feedback. We change it a little bit every cohort. It looks a lot different than it did a couple of years ago. We'll be making changes again for next year. So your feedback is invaluable because you are experiencing it. You can tell us what you need. You can tell us what we can do better. You can tell us what works just how it is, and please don't change it. That's valuable information for us too. So I'm going to stop sharing because I see there's some messages in the chat, and I think I went through everything. We can pop it back up if anybody needs to see anything. But let me get your faces back on my screen. There we go. Okay. And I grab the chat. Let's see. The link to the repo. Oh, thank you. Someone shared it. Perfect. Technical interviews are React.js focused. Yes. So our whole project that you've been doing for the last 8 weeks have been React and JavaScript. And then the take-home assignment is as well. So the assumption is that what you're applying for and now interviewing for is a front-end role based on React. And you'll be able to practice, let's say you in real life have an Angular interview. It's very easy and confident to be able to say, I have not yet used Angular, or maybe you spend an hour watching one of those tutorials so that you've got some of the jargon down. But here's what I did when I was using React in this project. These things translate, and everyone has told me throughout boot camp and throughout Collab Lab and everywhere that your exact tech stack is not going to be a handicap. You can interview for other jobs, and I didn't believe them, and it's true, you can. I've interviewed for Vue jobs, having spent a half an hour looking at the syntax and said, I don't know Vue, I haven't used it. And every time my interviewer's like, yeah, you'll pick that up. That's not important. So, if you're trying to only be a front end person and talk about doing some full stack Java backend, AWS hosted, and say, I know JavaScript, that might be a problem. But as long as you say what you know, you can pick anything up. It's really true. Anybody have any other questions? Concerns? Excited? Did I do such a perfect job with the repo and my post this time around that there's no confusion? This is the 5th or 6th time I've done it, so I'm hoping to get perfect someday. You're pumped. Yay, I'm so glad. And you love the repo. Thank you. Thank you. We have changed that one quite a bit. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to show you. I don't need to share my screen for it, but if you scroll down just a smidge more under the calendar, we have additional resources. Caitlin Floyd, some of you may know her and have interacted with her, put together an awesome collection of resources, because that's one of the feedbacks that we got a couple cohorts ago of, this is all great, but what about more? What about more React stuff, things like that. So we have got other job search resources running a whole gamut of different topics. If there's something else you need that we're not hitting in the 2 weeks, go for it. They're there for you to use. Monday session will be recorded as well. All sessions will be recorded because basically I have to do the sync sessions when it's convenient for me. And I'm in California now, but I'm on the East Coast, so my time is different. And, if you're in Europe or further east, your schedule's totally out of whack. Last cohort we did from Hawaii to India. So we covered like 15 or 16 hours, 15 or 16 time zones. So there was no way to do, a perfect schedule for everyone, but everything will be recorded. There'll be a link right here in the repo. I'll put it in each one. If you click into their own document, you'll see that. Resume review included. Oh, definitely. I don't think it's there as far as specific, like just said, here is the step on your resume, but absolutely. You can also send, and when you send your message and go, here's the link to my LinkedIn profile, put a note. do you mind taking a look at my resume as well? But absolutely. I think they all do it anyway, because it should be linked on your thing. Oh, Andrew just said, oops, I was out and about. So good news, we're fine. We're gonna get cut off because this is my personal free Zoom, but it's all good. Anything else you can think of? We did good. Okay, so the thing I want to leave you with, you have any questions? Reach out in Slack. I mean, it might take me a few hours because I'm, vacationing, but it is on my phone, so I will try to respond quickly. GitHub review. So when you say GitHub review, Patty, are you talking about of your code in the take-home assignment, or what your GitHub looks like in general?
Our GitHub profile. Also, I wrote GitHub. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I know what you meant. Between autocorrect and, fat fingers, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Spelling is a lost art. It's fine. Typing's hard.
I would like to have a GitHub account too, though. But yeah, the
Yeah,
GitHub profile is what I'm curious about. Will
GitHub
somebody
would
look
be
at that?
nicer. Not officially, but if I am not mistaken, because it's been a couple of
Mhm.
years, one of the things that you'll see on the LinkedIn profile is we're gonna do there's some section, I can't remember what it's called. It's the section where you add highlighted stuff that you want people to see, and your
Mhm.
GitHub should be one of those, and or your
Okay.
portfolio. So I'm sure there's some point where it talks about that. And if not, that is a great recommendation of something we can add. And I also I invite you all. I am Shelly MCQ on GitHub. You can check out mine if you want. We had a lesson in my boot camp to do cute stuff. And then I found some more cute stuff, and I've gotten compliments on it. I mean, I think it's boring.
Okay.
Other people are like, oh, wow, that's cool. You should include that. So feel free to just copy the whole thing and stick it on yours.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's a really good one. And I'll try to remember that you just said it. But if not, say talk to your person, because your person will look at it, especially if you just send them a message and go, can you look at my profile too?
Mhm.
And then if we don't have good resources for it, we'll try and find them for you right away, and we'll definitely add them to next time, because that's a good one.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. All good. Okay, reach out if you have questions, for sure, for sure, for sure. Andrew's also an amazing resource. This is his and Stacy's, love child. They started it. She was the first collabie. He was the first mentor. And it's grown, and the community is amazing. I don't know how much you've interacted with Learning Together and some of the other channels, but yeah, we're a really, really awesome group of people, and I can claim the we because I love being a part of it. You'll be a part of it forever. It won't just be these 10 weeks. Anytime you have questions, you can jump in one of the help channels. We're always looking for volunteers to help, tweak the website or something along those lines. So you are now forever a collabie. And so this is going to be fun. And I hope, let's see, our next session, we'll do that, is Monday. Let's see if I can work out my technical stuff by then. Okay. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your final demo if you haven't done it yet. I'm really excited for you. And I do take a peek at some of the videos, so I can't wait to see your final shopping list. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Bye.